Oops.
Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru. Om Namah Shivaya.
You get where all your practice, everything, all your actions is just a song and a dance.
Yeah, but make sure you, and I'm okay with all that, just make it a really, and get good at your song. You know, learn how to play this instrument of the body, right? And if you're going to dance, make it a coordinated dance. Don't be some kind of, person that people feel like you have some kind of epileptic spasm or something. In other words, bring a pleasant visage to your madness, right? I mean, we're not talking about crazy or not. We're just talking about levels of happiness involved in the craziness involved, right?
Yeah, there should be, there can be start instead of a spasm act, there could be a pause act instead. That's important for me in my practice of
To take that pause.
music and
Yeah. Well,
speech and all your actions.
It's again, I always have to use things as metaphors from my own computer-like mind, But aside from falling asleep, right, we have to be able to turn off. There has to be a point of assimilation of what it's just to experience, right? There has to be some kind of ordering process. I'm not saying there has to be. Maybe it's just me. That's the mind analyzing itself. And that's the point I always want to get to. When we get to this thing of the mind analyzing it, that's the point I'm at with this. I'm always watching my own mind talk to itself and saying, yeah, right, I'm watching you. And that's me watching myself watch myself, I'm like, it's getting a little confusing here in this hall of mirrors, who's watching who and why, you know? You know what I mean? It's like, sounds suspicious. But that's kind of that I've at least trying to navigate through that to some degree, and I think I have to, and the reason is because that's the pathway into these neurotransmitters. That's the pathway into these in savant states of consciousness that can be biochemically induced through your own ways of thinking. And I think that's really, really a way this can be set up as a permanent program. So I'm trying to establish those kinds of neural pathways and remembering and how to talk about them, and can they be communicated, or am I just, wandering around in this hall of mirrors too, And to some degree there is that. So I sit myself with a mantra. Waheguru. Adam Arjun does the same with his. And we do different ones too, multiples. But the idea is it's embedded in the very breath and heartbeat of this biological, psychological form. That's the level that I'm willing to have and have been successful. So that's continual substrate is here. This is the undulation. This is that flow. It's continually going. And again, this is the importance of establishing a sane personality construct that can exist in a multi-layered, multi-dimensional state of consciousness and still have a stable, collective, intelligent personality, effective, right? That should all kind of be in the realms of any sane way of talking to ourselves. I can talk myself into anything,
Yes, claim your divine nature.
Yeah, what else? Why not? I mean, I'm aiming for the top. I decided that, why would I do anything less than that? I'm way too egotistical to do anything less than the total universe of consciousness.
Or whatever you can imagine it to be.
And I don't limit it anymore. I can always say, in the human form, I like Krishna. I like Shiva. I like the forms of consciousness that exhibit devotion. And if we're going to have adventures, epic, heroic adventures, you know, sure. I mean, we're all going to play in this dance somewhere, right? So if you're going to play in this dance, and that's what it is, if you're going to incarnate as a individual being in this particular dance, then you have to decide what level you're going to play on. Because that's all it is. You can almost see it on a quantum molecular type level of just these energy flows moving through, dancing through, being wound through conditioned reflexes. That whole thing is part of the vector analysis, you know. You start talking to yourself like that, and you go, what the hell are you talking about? No idea. You know, but if I ever took the time to understand it, I think it would be something like that. You know, right? Yeah. It's just the mind, in my case, entertaining itself. It's kind of enjoyable. Is it okay? I mean, is this okay? I'm just trying to talk here, but I don't need to talk. I can listen.
Sure. You have to imagine that the whole universe feels like having a human body.
Yeah. How is that right? How is that? Think about that.
So it'd be not to be separate. Something, some kind of conscious. Or
It's like, how can you, if you were God, the whole thing, how could you bring that awareness down into your body so that part of your consciousness, the omnipresent, that whole thing, omnipresent, you know, that whole aspect, so it could have an understanding of what it takes, what it took to get this body, what it took for this genetic form of your consciousness to have a home, to manifest itself in. Are we coming out? This thing keeps going in and out of dark and light here. So I'm trying to. That's what I'm doing here, guys. I'm trying to realign the light focus here. Okay. Well, we're not going to keep going with this. We're going to change us. How about that? I have no idea why this is happening. I'm sure somebody could tell me. If, in the meantime, we'll make do. Anyway, it has to make sense. It has to make sense to your, whoever you decide to be. All right, wouldn't that it? It just has to make sense. Then you've got to be happy with it. You're doing what you're doing, and you have to be happy with it. That means you've got to make yourself adaptable to the different circumstances and still find the happiness. Just in the sitting, being served, talking. You're doing it. I mean, I'm impressed. I require a little more entertainment in my life. I mean, I appreciate the nuanced quality of things now. I'm going to move this back just a little bit here and see if we can get a better view of this. How's that, guys? Any better? We'll see how long that lasts. It's already taking in too much
for
light.
me, it's definitely a form of surrender to a form of duality. Is the ultimate, you know, expression is a form. Ultimately, is duality.
Okay,
Just as much as a singular.
pull that lamp up here a little closer, would you? And then we'll talk about duality. Just this one, just pull it towards us here. Real close, just bring it up here. Now spin it a little bit. Okay, that's good. Yeah, this might help. We have some subject on the light. Now carry on about your duality here.
So you gotta love yourself.
Well, okay.
That's what it comes down to. You gotta
All
love
right.
yourself and all the elements, even things that are seemingly inanimate.
So how does one love? How
like
does
the
okay?
sun and the sky.
Tell people how one loves oneself, or better yet, tell people how does one love? What are the attributes one shows in love?
Well, it starts with the elements.
What elements? So we're talking about your heart. We're
In
talking
the
about love.
First one.
We're talking love.
before
We're
you
talking love. This is an emotional thing. This is not that intellectual love. This is the emotional love. This is the all-encompassing love. This is what you break. You can't leave it. That love.
You start with gentleness.
Oh, see, this is what happens when you do too much sattvic foods. No, that's beautiful. I'm sure.
and,
Yeah.
and a lot of forgiveness and compassion. You know, it's basic.
I agree with that
Any
totally.
diet,
No, that has.
any path. You know,
Tino,
spiritual
knock it
people
off.
understand
God's
these
sake.
basic concepts.
Yes.
Being malleable.
Well, the neuroplasticity. That's the same.
You have
Take
to
it
be
right.
open. You have to be.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to stop now, and we'll get back to you in a bit.